Hi guys, it's Miss Lisa, and I'm back on the porch for another passionate porch time position statement. They really are rants, but I don't like to call them rants. I like the idea of spending a few minutes letting you know, like a little bit of an insight into a specific area of something that I believe in, something I talk about, something I think about. I have recently assembled a bunch of cards of all of the things that people wanted to know more about after my participation in the Challenging Behavior online conference of 2020. So this is one of them. Many people wanted to unpack a little bit more or want a deeper understanding of what I call my house metaphor, the house of higher learning. So a quick synopsis, it's pretty visual, and I don't use visual aids. I'm going to use my hands because that's what I do. So if you can imagine that this, what I'm drawing right now, this rectangle, is what I call the foundation. And in that foundation, there are 7 things that we do with children every single day. And it's kind of a little bit of a trick thing in the sense that there's technically 6 things within the foundation. And the 7th thing is the cement holding our metaphorical foundation together. So the 6 things are making time every day to create, move, sing, discuss, observe, read, 6 things. Play is not a separate 7th thing, but it is in actuality the cement that is holding our metaphorical foundation together. So the idea here, the theory, the things that I unpack in, of course, more detail in my book, Lisa Murphy on Play, is I go into depth as to how and why each of those things are so amazingly important, and how as early childhood people, specific preschool early childhood people, and to that, I mean if you're working with children before they have made that transition into kindergarten or grade 1, your obligation, your duty, your ethical responsibility, and I mean that, your ethical responsibility is your job. Your job is the building of that foundation and making sure that that foundation is absolutely rock solid so that our elementary school colleagues can then in turn start building the house, right? The house of academics on top of it. It's a very simple metaphor. Don't overthink it. It's a very strong metaphor because you can see it in your head. If you start building a huge mansion without a strong foundation, I don't care how nice your neighborhood is, that house is going to come crashing down. And that, unfortunately, is exactly what's happening with the educational experience that many of our children are getting. But I'm digressing. Come back to the metaphor. That's it. Strong, solid, making time every day to create, move, sing, discuss, observe, read, and play is the cement holding that together. So then we can start building the house. So what's in the house? Reading, writing, math, science, chemistry, physics, know your name, know your shapes, know your colors, all of that business. And if you're brand spanking new to me, one of the things you need to really hear me say is that nobody who is aligned with a play-based, child-centered philosophy is saying that we don't want huge academic mansions. Everybody wants a huge mansion for their children, for their own children, for the children that they work with. Everybody wants that. The expectation of a huge academic mansion is not the problem. The problem is that many of you who work with children ages 5 and under, right, preschool children, are oftentimes being forced, bribed, threatened, and coerced to begin building that house where there's no foundation. And if you cave into the pressure to start building where there is no foundation, the reason why children don't appear ready when they make that transition into elementary school is because we didn't do our job. If you want to be a grade 1 teacher, then you need to go be a grade 1 teacher. If you want to be a 2nd grade, a 3rd grade, a 5th grade teacher, then you need to go do that. Preschool. You want huge mansions? You need a rock solid foundation. And you only get a rock solid foundation when early childhood people who are working with children before they make transition into school, are committed to creating places where children are learning through play. I call it playful learning. Playful learning. And we'll unpack that in another porch time position statement about how what we call the false dichotomy, that somehow play and learning are 2 separate things. But for right now, little quick 5-minute description of the metaphor that I use as a house. 7 things, foundation, on top of which we're going to build the house. So if you start building that house and that foundation isn't rock solid, then they're going to make that transition into kindergarten or 1st grade with gaping Swiss cheese holes in their foundation. And that's why we often have kindergarten teachers and first grade teachers who are overwhelmingly frustrated because they have what I call double duty. What do I mean by that? Their job is the building of that academic mansion, but they find themselves having to backfill because instead of doing preschool really, really well, we did watered down elementary school. So keep the image of that house and that foundation. Am I compromising the foundation in a race to build my house first? And if you find yourself honestly saying, yeah, I think I kind of drank that Kool-Aid, then that's fine. You take a deep breath and you come back to center and you recalibrate and you remind yourself that if you're going to be working with younger children, your duty and your obligation is making sure that that foundation is rock solid so our colleagues can start building the house. Now to that, because some of you are wondering, once in a blue moon, you will get a child in your program, 3, 4, 5, who might be ready for you to start building. And at that point, your job is to step back and honestly ask yourself, is this kid really ready? How do I know? Is their foundation rock solid? Or am I caving into that pressure to start building even though I know that there's holes? And at that point, you take a big breath and you recalibrate and you remind yourself that as preschool people, birth until they make that transition, your duty and obligation is to create a strong foundation that's going to support that house of academics. Thank you very much. I'm Lisa Murphy, sometimes called the Ooey Gooey Lady, and I will see you next time for another passionate porch time position statement. Thanks for your time. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.